Hello and welcome to Asynchronous Operations video. In this video, we'll take a look on existing asynchronous operations that can be enabled for Magento 2 Community Edition. Also, we'll take a look how to create custom asynchronous operation for extended functionality. First, let's go to Magento 2 admin panel. There are two asynchronous operations that can be enabled for such a critical action as place order, and they can be enabled from Stores configuration. Now we would like to go to Sales Emails tab, and under General Settings field set you can see Asynchronous Sending disabled by default. So Sales emails can be sent asynchronously if you change the value of the setting to enabled, and order confirmation emails are not really so critical to send it instant on place order. So it should be okay for most of the projects to improve the performance of place order action by moving email confirmations to asynchronous processing. The second operation can be enabled under Advanced Developer tab. Here we can go to Grid Settings field set and enable asynchronous grid indexing. This will introduce some delays in sales order, sales invoice and all other related to sales grids rendering, like those grids will be updated once in 5 minutes. However, this will also speed up place order operation. Additionally, I would like to say if you enable asynchronous indexing or asynchronous email sending, and then at some point you decide to disable it, the action of disabling the asynchronous operation should process all not processed grid rendering and email sending actions. Finally, let's take a look on how such operations can be implemented. We'll go to PHP Storm and take a look on Lucky Order. I've added a setup namespace and I am adding a table for our model right now. This table is supposed to store the order ID and is Lucky Flag. It's linked to sales order entity ID field. Actually, in our module, the lucky information about order is calculated locally and it's very fast. However, let's imagine that we are using some external web API to get those calculations, and that can really slow down performance of place order operation. In that case, we can place an order without a lucky calculation and introduce an asynchronous operation that will process all orders that don't have the information about luckiness and get the lucky information a bit later. So for this purpose we introduce that table for storing the information, and to asynchronously populate that table we have to create just two files. The first one is located in etc directory and is called crontab.xml. So it's actually the setup for our cron jobs that will process the lucky information on some intervals. Currently it's set to each minute. I think each 5 minutes would be okay for orders. And this cron job is pointed to Sevashenko lucky order cron save order luck class execute method. Let's go and take a look on that class. So here I'm using just two dependencies. The first one is luck info, the class that is calculating if order is lucky or not. Second one is resource connection. I'm not using repositories or resource models here because I would like it to be very simple and fast, and in this case we can save a lot of time with using resource connection at least for select. However, you have to remember that if you are using direct queries, you can improve performance a lot. However, you should remember about plugins and observers that you can bypass without going through all framework stack of resource models. Here, I'm just getting the connection from resource and perform a select from sales order with left join of order lock, and I just filter the data by all orders that are missing lucky information. Finally, I fetch orders, and for each order I am calculating lucky information based on grand total and performing an insert to the table that stores this lucky information. Later I can use this table, for example, to populate sales order grid column with the information, or probably sales order view page with this information about if order is lucky. So if I would like to introduce some configuration for synchronous and asynchronous processing, I'd probably add one more dependency for configuration, check configuration in execute method. And one thing I would like to do is to call this method once the system configuration is updated from asynchronous operation enabled to asynchronous operation disabled state. That's actually it. Thank you for your attention, and in the next video I will tell you about full page cache.